Hi, this is Mitch from Hard Intentions back on video. How you doing? Uh, Start off, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in and continue to watch our videos. And also, I want to thank everybody who's gone to our store and bought t-shirts, subscribed to our channel, bought artwork, stickers, all that. We appreciate the support 100%. I just want to say this past weekend was a great day. We posted a video of myself and a friend of mine riding motorcycles. Actually, a photograph. That was Dave. Dave was in Tracy with me many years ago, and also San Quentin. Dave got out of prison off a life sentence through the court, and he's been out about 12 years, so it was good to see him and ride motorcycles with him. And I remember Dave was in Tracy with me before I went to Donovan, where I picked up last in our story. I transferred to Donovan, but Dave was in Tracy. We used to tattoo. We did a little tattoo work on each other. We traded some work, and there was a problem with some guy. I remember last I saw David at Tracy was this guy was having issues, and the cop came and asked Dave, "Hey, why don't you go talk to that guy? See if you can help him out." And Dave went and talked to this cat, and he says, I don't know who the fuck's ratting around here, but are you telling? The guy's like, no, I'm not telling. And basically, the cop wanted Dave to kind of calm the guy down, let him know he didn't have to be paranoid of being in prison and all that. And so Dave did. He says, the "are you ratting" thing was just a small part of his conversation with the guy. He was trying to calm him down, let him know that his life wasn't in danger and all that kind of shit. And I come out for chow after count, man. Dave was gone. They came and rolled him up. This guy went and ratted, said Dave threatened his life and all kinds of shit, which was not true. And they rolled him up and said he was a leader of a white pressure group and all kinds of things. So that's the last time I saw Dave until I saw him at San Quentin in 2006, and my points finally went down to level 2. I was a fuck up, so my points were high, and it took me a while to get down to level 2. So, I left Tracy in 93 and I went to Donovan, which is, I still had, I think I had 100 points at the time. And but the board had told me to go take the category T program again, and I was like, man, I'm not doing that, because I told them I'm not going back to that CMC. I didn't want to go there. I did the Cat X there, and I was like, man, fuck that. I'm not going back to that place, because they treated me like shit there. The cop was always in my cell. It was a 90-day program. I was there about 5 months. I remember one time at CMC, I had my hobby stuff in the cell, and the cop, he was going in my cell, searching my fucking cell all the time, because it's a weak joint, and lifers went there to do programs and then go back to the prisons that they came from, and that was my mindset. I'm going to do this fucking program, and I'm going to go back to Tracy. That's where I wanted to be. That hobby, that industry. My old lady lived close by, and so I remember one time he went in my cell. This cop, little dude, went in there and he stripped my cell out, and I saw a bunch of my hobby shit in the trash outside. I said, man, what the fuck, And the guy pulled it out of trash, gave it to me, the guy that did the trash in the yard, and but some of it was gone. I was like, man, what the fuck, So I went in the building, and I told the cop, man, what the fuck's wrong with you? That's my shit. That's my stuff. See, in a hobby, you buy all that stuff. Through catalogs, it's a special order through hobby. It's a hobby order. And, you pay 10% extra inmate welfare fund fee and all that. But it's my shit. I bought it. If they ever deem it contraband, then you're allowed to send it home. And he had taken some of it and just tossed it out. I got some of it back, but I was like, man, where's the rest of my stuff? And it just come up missing. So I told him, I had my finger in his face, and I'm like, look, motherfucker, stay out of my cell, you know, stay the fuck out of my cell. And I said, if you go in my cell again and tear it up like that, there's going to be consequences. And, you know, I just turned 30, so I was still kind of young, and I was kind of big, you know, lifting weights and doing my thing. And I guess I was a little intimidating, you know. And he says, you know, I said, if you go in my cell again, there's going to be consequences. And he tells me, so what, are you threatening me? I said, I'm not threatening you, I'm just telling you. He says, well, what are you going to do? I said, well, go in my cell again and find out. And that was the last time that guy searched my cell. You know, I mean, at the time, it was already starting to set in that we're never going to get out. So I really didn't give a fuck. And if he would have went in my cell again and tore it up, I probably would have broke his jaw. I'm glad he didn't, because I'm glad I didn't have to go there. Because once you do something like that to staff, you're fucked. I mean, that follows you the rest of your career. So anyway, when they told me to go back and take a CAT T program, I was like, man, I'm not doing that. I'm not going back to that fucking prison. And so they go, well, we transferred the program. It's now in Donovan. And so I'm from San Diego, and that's where Donovan's at. And I was like, okay, cool. I'll go to Donovan. You know, I get visits, see my homeboys, see my mom. You know, everybody lived down there. And so I took the bus ride down to Donovan. I got to see the state, you know. And, you know, other than a short time at New Folsom, I really hadn't been in any of the new prisons. And so when we got to Donovan, I kind of tripped out, because it's not just one big prison, you know. It's actually 4 little mini prisons inside one prison. So that's how they design the new prisons to get control, is they make you know, anywhere from 2 to 4 yards. SADF has 6 facilities, I think. So they're designed for 500 guys, actually, because they're designed for single cells. But of course they double cell them, so you have 1,000 guys on each facility instead of just having one big prison with 4,000 or 5,000 dudes in it. It's easier for them to control. So that's the first thing I noticed. I was like, well, you know, this is kind of weird. And then, of course, when I got in the building, you know, I'm from a little town, San Diego, called Lakeside, and this black cop was like, so where you from? You know, and I said, I'm from Lakeside. Oh, he said, I don't go out there. No, fuck that. You know, and yeah, it has a reputation. I don't know if it still deserves the reputation it used to have back in the day. But anyway, Donovan was kind of a trip, man. I almost everyone there was from San Diego or Orange County or LA. A lot of San Diego guys. So I had a few fellas there from Lakeside, El Cajon area that knew me. Some of them heard about me, and they're like, hey, homeboy, you know, and it was cool, you know. I gotta say, like, Homeboys, like San Diego, back in the day, like when I went to Tracy, my homeboy walked up to the cell, Frank. He's like, hey, you know, what do you need? I said, well, you know, I use Copenhagen, and I had hair then and whatnot. He said, I'll be right back. And within, you know, 10, 15 minutes, man, I had shampoo, a little food, 2 or 3 cans of Copenhagen, you know, slid under the door. So that's how homeboys are in prison, man. That's how they're supposed to be, you know, and then vice versa. If somebody showed up to prison where I was at from Dago, and I knew him, or they seemed like a decent guy, I didn't just because you're from San Diego or Lakeside, I didn't just go look out for you. I did check them out and say, oh, this guy seems cool. Then you look out for them. You give them what they need when they first get there until they get their property. So I got to Donovan, and a lot of guys were like, hey, you know, what's up, homeboy? And, you know, I was 30, 32 at the time, I think, when I got to Donovan. So I was a little, in the prison that's kind of older. At that time, it was kind of you're older. When you get in your 30s, you know, there were a lot of youngsters there. And there was a couple of older cats that had been down a while, had life. And they put us in a building, two buildings for the Category T and Category X. All lifers, you know. So it was cool. uh, it was kind of mellow there. The program was open all day long. Had a yard all day long. So I did that for about 2 weeks, and then I was like, man, I gotta find a job. Uh, I noticed, guys kind of doing weird shit there, man. I mean, just acting weird, and my celly. I heard people heard, oh, you tattoo. So I see I tattoo, and there was a youngster there named Todd. He was from Visalia, and he wanted tattoos. He was a big kid. He's about 6'5", maybe 6'6". He's taller than me. And first termer, he had robberies. Um, Good kid, good youngster. I said, hey, you want some tattoo work? And his celly was leaving, and his celly was half white, half Mexican. He was a good kid. I forgot his name, but he was on the yard. And one day, and there was this little white dude, a little older guy, who was a lifer. He's kind of a jerk. He hung out with some biker type dudes. He thought he was all that. He was in Tracy at one time, and he used to hang out with a guy at a club. So he thought that just made him, the cat's meow, I guess. But he was on the yard talking shit to this kid, man. And he comes up to me, and he had a piece, and I'm all, what's going on there, And he says, oh man, this and that. And I said, hey, look, this youngster was from L.A. and he's half Mexican, Chicano Mexican, and half white. So he ran around with white dudes, and he ran around with the Southsiders, because that's just what he did. And but him and my guy who ended up being my celly, they were cellies, And anyway, this guy runs, and he's out kicking it with the Mexicans, And this guy that was fat mouthing him tells me, hey man, why is that guy going to the Mexicans? I said, hey look man, that dude's he's a Southsider. He's half white, half Mexican. He's probably gonna go get a knife and stab your fucking ass, But me and some other guys put a squash on it, And like I said before, man, in prison, when I went to prison, the thing was back in the day, if you got a problem with someone, if it ain't worth killing over, it ain't a fucking problem. Work it out. Either work it out or get off, So some other shit was going on there. There was this dude, he was kind of lame. He ended up hanging himself later on, I heard. But he was a big kid, and he had a problem with some guy from LA, and these guys are like, fuck your car. And me and this other guy, a bigger cat, he was kind of like the older guy from the big homie for the LA car, and we got together. I said, hey, look, man, I don't give a fuck where these guys are from. All that talking shit about each other's neighborhood, fuck that. They got a problem with each other. And they need to go in a fucking cell and handle it. So we told them, look, you guys got a problem with each other, go in a fucking cell and handle it. There was weird shit like that going on. I didn't really get it, because all the prisons I've been at prior to that, you had guys from down south, guys from Central California, Northern California, guys from up in the mountains, from all over, just living together. No one talked shit about each other's, where you're from, or, I'm going to go get my homeboys because I got a problem with this guy from some other town. I didn't like that shit. I told them, look, both you dudes are white, man. Just go in a fucking cell and handle your business. And when it's over, it's over. And if you get your ass beat and you can't live with that, then go stab the motherfucker. But all that trying to instigate shit and get all your homeboy, to me, that's just a sign of a coward. Guy trying to get his homeboys to back his play because he has a problem with somebody. That's bullshit. I mean, I could see and we told these guys, hey, look, I could see if, guys worried about getting jumped on by a crew of guys. But other than that, Anyway, I moved in with Todd, this big youngster. And I said, hey, man, you want some tattoos? He goes, yeah. I said, you got some money? He goes, well, yeah, I got some money, because I tattoo for money in prison. That's what I did. I'd get a job, and I'd have a few bucks, coming in from that, but I would tattoo. And the price of tattooing in prison is $100 an arm, $100 a chest, $200 for a back piece, $200 for a leg. So, you know, he goes, well, how much money do you want? You know, he was like thinking I'm trying to work him. You know, I said, I don't worry about it. You know, as long as you got a few bucks, we'll be all right. And the way I did things was I always just tattoo on my celly. So the building I was in, the celly I was in at the time was kind of, you know, I didn't really, he was an okay guy, but I didn't really jive with him. You know, he's kind of a square. And so I moved in with Todd when his celly went home. His celly was the kid that was half white, half Mexican. He went home, and I moved in with Todd. And he's like, you know, when we're going to start tattooing. So I drew up some patterns, you know, for an arm piece. And I outlined his whole arm. From his shoulder cap down, I outlined it all. And you know, when I tattoo, a lot of times you just do like shading. You know, there's no line, and so it looked very unfinished. You know, that's how it looks to the untrained eye. And I told him, hey, look, he worked in an auto body shop. You know, and I told him, when you go to work, you know, excuse me, I see these guys are gonna say, man, that looks like shit. You know, because they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So sure enough, you know, he came back from work and he goes, hey man, these guys say you don't know what you're doing, and you know, it looks like shit and this and that, just like you said, you know, what the fuck, you know. And I said, well, I don't trip, you know, be all right. And so then I started shading it, you know, and I said, don't show these guys nothing till I get about half this done, you know. So I started shading it, and you know, he was a good kid. Todd was a good kid, man. And so when he finally showed them guys, he came back from work and he's like, oh man, they said this is a shit, man. This is a shit, you know. And then like tattooing in prison, I don't know how it is out here in the street because I just tattoo a little bit on the side, you know. But in prison, you sleeve down somebody, everybody wants you to work on them. It's like you got everyone on the yard asking you to tattoo on them, you know. And I'm like, hey, one guy at a time. Because I didn't run guys in my cell, out, in and out, you know, from other buildings, bringing them in. Because then you get heat on yourself, and then the fucking cops are going to come tear up your house. And, you know, getting a good tattoo motor, setting it up. You know, I set up my shit a certain way. I'd make a little brace out of wood. And, you know, I made things a certain way. I had to have a wheel on the center shaft, you know, with an offset post. And, you know, so that required me to send my stuff to the machine shop, you know, to get certain stuff made in the machine shop, because I wanted to tattoo a certain way. I wasn't into having a janky, you know, scratch it up, you know, scratcher shit. We call them scratchers, you know, guys that just scratch the skin, butcher people up. I knew what I was doing. By then, my tattoo game was pretty good. I knew what I was doing, and I didn't want to tattoo without the right shit. So you don't want to get caught and lose all your shit. Because if the cops know you're tattooing on your celly, you're doing decent work, you're not running guys in and out of your house, they usually don't fuck with you. You know, they won't come and yank your stuff. So yeah, you know, after a minute, I had, you know, the whole damn yard wanted me to tattoo on him. So I tattooed on Todd. I did his back. I did his arms and his chest. You know, I put a Frankenstein on his chest and some other stuff. I have some photographs of it from it was in a tattoo magazine, actually. And here's the deal, though. Todd ended up getting out. He got a double murder, and he's on death row. He joined the prison gang and all that. So later on, years later, you know, I had photographs of his tattoos, because at that time they had a yard camera. You could still take photographs. And so years later, I ended up in San Quentin. The goon squad hit my house, took my photograph, my photo albums, and yanked all my, because I had photographs of tattoos I did of guys in motorcycle clubs. I do their patch on their back. And I had a couple different guys from different clubs. And then I had this kid, you know, the tattoos I did on this kid. And they yanked them all out. and they said, hey, this guy's, he's in a prison gang and blah, blah, blah. And I said, look, man, you see I have tattoos from several different types of people. I go, it's not that I'm affiliated with these guys. It's just that those are photographs of tattoos I've done. And when I get out of prison, I'm going to tattoo. And so that's my resume. And it kept me from getting, validation shit put in my file. They did keep the photographs, though. So the only photographs I have of Todd's work are ones that were in a magazine, unfortunately. Yeah, so Todd was my cellie for about a year, and his points went down, and which meant he was going to transfer to a level 2, and he didn't want to leave. We were comfortable, we're good cellies, man. We were eating good. I was getting food sent over from the main kitchen, which is a story, an adventure in itself, and he didn't want to leave, so. I made him a little tattoo gun. Tattoo gun write-up is, your points go up when you get a write-up. So if he got a write-up, his points would go up enough to keep him there for another year. And so he's walking down the track, and the cops are there. And he's walking the track with his tattoo gun, and he drops it down on the track, and he bends over like he's trying to pick it up. And he's looking over at the cops like, because he wants them to see him and go, hey, what do you got there? And, it took him, he was bent over for like a minute or two, and finally they go, hey, what's up there, and they see the tattoo gun and stuff, and a tattoo gun, they shake him down and take him over to the program office, and they got the tattoo gun, and this black cop come out, they liked him, and the cop comes over to me and he goes, man, what the fuck's wrong with your cellie? I go, what do you mean? He says, I went in there and got that tattoo gun, and I told him, hey, I'm going to make sure you don't get a write-up. The cops thinks he's looking out for him because Todd's a decent kid, as my cellie, I always tell him, look, I can't afford any heat. I'm a lifer or tattooing. Plus, at that time, I was still doing shit, illegal shit, moving stuff around the yard, and I was working as a plumber, so I got to go anywhere in a prison that I wanted to go, and I didn't want any heat, so my cellie's always programmed. That's, and if they don't, I tell them to get the fuck out. So anyway, they liked him, and he goes, I told him, man, I'll make sure you don't get a write-up. I got that tattoo gun and threw it away, and he started saying, hey, man, fuck you, you punk, and he call him the N-word and all that stuff, you fucking woo, motherfucker, fuck you. And so now he's trying to get a write-up by fat-mouthing this cop, and he comes over, man, what the hell's wrong with your cellie, man? I say, I don't know, he's just having a bad night. So he don't get a write-up for that. Then he goes down to, this cop, she was kind of an asshole, and she was from Britain. And he goes down there and tells, hey, you fucking limey bitch, I hope the IRA kills your family, and just started, ooh, and she just says, I'll get out of the office, Givens, and he just couldn't get a write-up. He ended up transferring to Soledad, and, got in trouble there. He ended up in Corcoran, and then he joined up with this, prison gang, and he paroled, and he ended up with a double murder, and now he's on death row, so... But he was a good youngster. I remember when we were cellies, he had gone over to the cell. I said, go tell them guys to give us some weed, sell it to us, And he comes back, he goes, man. Now this guy was from Central California, he's from Visalia. And so these guys he asks are from San Diego, and they tell him, oh, you're out. I go, what the fuck you mean you're out? He says, they told him, you're out, you're a northern boy, you're out. And, man, that really pissed me off. I went over there and, I had my fucking finger in this dude's face. I go, hey, you fucking creep, I go, that dude's my cellie, he's white, and he's a good motherfucker. And I don't care where the fuck he's from. I guess, so who the fuck you think took care of me when I was up in Tracy? Because the last couple of years that I was in DVI in Tracy, all the white dudes from Southern California, especially San Diego, when they opened Donovan, they all transferred so they could get closer to home. You know, I was the only guy from San Diego there for a while. But I told them, who the fuck you think looked out for me when I was up there by myself? I was the only guy from Southern California damn near. So I don't want to hear that shit, you know. That really pissed me off. And I don't play that shit. And I don't care where a guy's from. If he's a good dude, he's a good dude, you know. But when Todd was my cellie, what really got me to liking this kid was, you know, before his cellie left, they made a little deal with this paisa. And they sent him $50 for some weed or something. And the guy never came through, you know. And he kept telling me, hey, this guy owes me, you know. Like 2-3 months went by, and I said, hey, look, man, we're going to have to jam that dude and tell him, you know, you want your money. So they had a hot lunch still there at Tracy. So we go to the chow hall, you know, and I mean at Donovan. And Donovan, there was no assigned seating. You could sit wherever you want. So this guy, Charlie's sitting there by himself. So we go sit at his table, and Todd tells him, hey, you know, I need my money and, you know, this and that. What's going on? And the guy's laughing. He goes, you know, I'll give you this. He's telling him he'll give him some heroin. He'll give him a couple 50s of heroin. And he goes, and then, you know, you owe me. And that kind of pissed me off because he's playing this kid for a punk, you know. So I told him, hey, check this out, motherfucker. You're going to pay him what you owe him. And the guy got a, like, scared, serious but scared look on his face. And he goes, well, I know you're a lifer. But he had a heavy accent, you know. He goes, I'm not afraid of you. I said, good. I don't want you to be afraid of me. And so we split and we left the chow hall. And I told Todd, hey, check this out, man. You got to kill that dude. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, well, you know, the dude's trying to play you for a fucking punk. And you're going to have to kill that dude. And he goes, all right, you know. So Donovan had these big fucking boulders. They call it R.J. Donovan at Rock Mountain, you know, because when they leveled the ground to build that prison, that, you know, it's just rock. There's rocks all over the yard. They used them for decorations back then because they thought that was funny. So we came up with a plan, you know, to get a few of us walking the track with Todd. And then he was going to come up behind that dude and smash him in the head with a rock. And then we just keep walking. And he was all for it. He's like, yeah, all right. I says, okay, we're going to do this tomorrow when I get off work. So I went to work, and there was this Southsider cat there. He had a little influence. And I think his name was Raphael or Rael or something. I forgot his name. But he was a good dude, and he worked in an electric shop. And I went and I told him, hey, check this out. This dude owes my cellie money. I told him what went down. I go, he's trying to play him like he's a fucking punk. He's owed him for quite a while, and we're going to kill him. And he was kind of shocked, like, wow, you know. I said, you know, he's playing him like he's a punk. And you got to remember, back then, that was right on the border, you know. But business, shit that happened over business back then, it was business. It wasn't racial shit. See, that's how you do it. You go and tell the other race. They would tell us, hey, this motherfucker owes us money. He's not paying. That means he's got to get whacked. That's how it is. You can't have guys owe you money and not pay you. Otherwise, you know, the whole yard's going to punk you out of your shit. Anyway, he goes, yeah, sure, go ahead. He's out of line, you know. He's got that coming, you know. And so I go work and all that shit, and I come back, and from work, it's the end of the day, we're getting ready to go back to the yard, and he comes to me, he goes, hey, Holmes, check it out. He goes, give me a couple of days. He goes, that guy owes me a lot of money too, so give me a couple of days to work that out, huh? And then it's all good. I said, all right. And so about 2 days later, Todd comes back from a phone call. He goes, wow. I go, what's up? He goes, I just called my mom, man. That dude sent that money back to my mom. So that dude that owed him sent his family, you know, his money back. So, and then when I went to work, you know, that guy that I had, you know, basically I went to that guy out of respect, said, hey, we're going to whack this dude, you know. Anyway, he told me, hey, is everything good? I told him, yeah, everything's good, you know. See, sometimes, uh, you can get by like that, but once you make the statement, not really a threat, just a statement, like, hey, we're going to take this dude down. Sometimes that's good enough, but if it's not, you got to follow through. Because, just like anything else, man, if you say something and don't do it, people take notice. Uh, yeah, Todd was a good dude, man, and he's on death row now, and I saw him when I was in San Quentin. When I got down to level 2, I seen him a few times on escort, and I think they transferred him to Pelican Bay because some guys, death row is in San Quentin, but if you're a prison gang member and you're a problem, they will transfer you to Pelican Bay SHU to hold you there as a death row inmate. Or sometimes they'll take them to New Folsom and put them in the hole there as a death row inmate. But yeah, while he was on death row, he went out to the yard and stabbed some guy in the face. Try to kill him. He stabbed him like 3-4 times in the face and neck, I heard. He's a savage. He was a good kid. He just when you're in that game and you fuck up, sometimes you get the ultimate price you have to pay. But he was a good dude. I had a good time living with him, and that's just part of my little adventures at Donovan. I did work there as a plumber, and I got to move around that yard a lot, and I started my artwork thing there, and of course that's a whole nother story that I'll get back into on our next video. Thanks for watching. Thanks for letting me tell my story. Thanks for listening. And we do have a website, heartintentions.com. This is our logo on my shirt here and on the hat. We do have shirts. We have one hat left, I think, but we will get some more. We have stickers. We have some new stickers that are pretty cool, and we have some prints. So, we appreciate your support. Please subscribe. I notice we have about 2/3 of the people that watch the videos are not subscribed. But anyways, it'd be nice if more people would subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and hey, enjoy your life, and whatever you do, do it hard. Thank you.